So this book is about, well, it starts out, I buried my father. My dad died of cancer in August of 2013. And then after that, in December, I ended up getting sick. And it turned out to be double lung pneumonia and H1N1. And I was 6 months pregnant at the time. So that's how I ended up on life support and everything like that. So that all happened in like December, and I was in a coma for 3 weeks until like January, somewhere in there. Started coming back around again. Let's see here. So I'm going to start in I think it's the second chapter here. And then just let me know when the timer's up, okay? All right. It was bitter cold as Halloween came around. We didn't make it near as far as the years before. We were chilled even through our winter coats. We could take no more, so we headed back to our warm wood stove. I picked out candy I wanted to keep, citing the fact that the baby needed to be a part too. The next day, as I washed dishes with a chocolate bar shoved in my cheek, a butterfly big and white came thumping on the window I daydream out of when my hands are full of soapy dishes. I was intrigued. To see a butterfly here was rare, and in this cold seemed impossible. I dried off my hands and swallowed my treat down. I went outside. It was easy to catch, and I brought it inside. The girls loved to look at it and were careful not to touch. Finally, after a day, it was still very much alive in my living room, so I let it loose back outside. I watched as it fluttered off. Something fluttered in me, more than just the baby stirring. A strange sadness I couldn't place perched inside me. The beginning of November, I went in for my ultrasound at 21 weeks. I decided against finding out the sex. This was going to be my last baby, and I wanted a surprise. Not long after, I jumped like I had done with all of my babies at this point in my pregnancy, what it was and what it would look like. I told Jewel one morning it was a girl, and she looked just like me. I also told her I felt this was going to be a C-section. The baby was not right in my hips. I felt like the hands and feet were not in the right places. At the edge of my consciousness, something didn't feel right. I couldn't pull it in or push it out. She, on the other hand, countered my thoughts. She was convinced it had to be a boy this time. She swore she had seen dangly bits in the ultrasound. She also reassured me that the baby would have plenty of time left to move into the right spot, and not to worry about delivery. I had done great so far. She reassured me that everything was going to be fine. My problems were minimal. My winter coat was getting hard to zip, a faded green canvas coat for the male frame in no giving way. I didn't know what I would do in January. By then it would be too small for me. Also, putting on winter boots seemed to be a prenatal yoga exercise in itself. My hips loosened so intensely I was a newborn calf on ice. I slid around in the snow almost helpless. I made an igloo with rain. After an hour of scooping and putting snow in a big pile, she hollowed it out. It was perfect, except for one spot. I leaned over to pack the snow down. Then I lost my balance and crashed into it. Thankfully, she wasn't inside. To make matters worse, Rain was laughing so hard she could hardly rescue the stuck turtle. I was happy. The holiday season with the kids always made me excited. Last year, Joel took the girls to see his aging parents, so I didn't have Christmas with them that year. Someone had to tend to the farm. I bought 2 big soft teddy bears that I cuddled while they were gone. This year, I was so blessed to have them. I really wanted to show them that. At night, I was intensely dreaming of Dad. I was sure it was the grieving process. One morning, he sat there on the edge of my bed as I was half awake trying to tell me something. He seemed so sad. My stomach tightened. The same day, Lotus found a talking fish that was his. I had it hidden. She played with it and wouldn't let me take it. I desperately wanted to throw it against the wall. The following night, Dad was there again. He came as a black bear. I was catching and releasing rainbow trout. I woke with an immense sadness, a strange feeling that I just couldn't place or shake. I called Mom and told her that he was haunting me. It's not Halloween anymore, I told her. She laughed at me. Then she went on to tell me she thought it was twins. She kept telling me the girl would reveal herself in December. I've told her firmly I wasn't going to get any more ultrasounds, so there would be no revealing in December. I would change the subject to a list of names I was pondering. I really liked Meadow, Brooke, or Zeppelin. I had no boy names, but I would come up with one just in case. For now, it was just a baby or Cricket, my little bug. That was that. I was shifting my focus on the next holiday, Thanksgiving. It brought snow and more bitter cold, snow that wanted to stick around, and wind that could cut through anything we had. I stepped out for wood in my dad's coveralls and a shirt. I found it so funny that I couldn't zip it up with my belly that I had Jewel take a picture. I didn't know it'd be one of only 3 pregnancy pictures. As soon as December rolled around, I put up my poor, ratty, used-to-death plastic tree. It could last one more year. I had no choice in the matter. I wrapped some presents. I didn't tag them. I knew whose was whose just by the paper I used. I hid them in the attic, and nowhere entered my mind to think that someone else might have to deal with what I left behind, even though I wasn't feeling up to par. My asthma seemed to keep flaring up. I was using the inhaler more than ever. I just passed it off to cold, dry air as usual. My doctor canceled an appointment. I was going to talk more about it. As time wore on, I became more and more concerned. It seemed like all pregnancy-related stuff with a slight cold coming on. Was it asthma I was fighting again? I was overly tired from my final trimester. Was I just overdoing it? I knew I was simply tired to the bone that cold December morning of the 16th. Wrapping the rest of the presents could wait. I hid them all over the attic and laid down. Jewel made dinner, and I just snuggled with whoever came to lay with me. The 17th wasn't much better. I felt something coming on even stronger than usual. I used my inhaler twice and thought about using it a 3rd time. Something was wrong. I was sick. I was so convinced it was a cold compounded on overdoing it in my oncoming last trimester. I was badly in need of naps. Even sweeping the floor was a chore that left me with no energy. The 18th, I developed a cough that hurt way deep down. I'd never felt something so painful. I'd suffered bronchitis and walking pneumonia in the past. This was new. This I was starting to take notice. The inhaler wasn't working anymore. Earlier that month, I had a rain and me day. We had lunch together. She happily showed off her budding preteen state by eating everything placed in front of her. We laughed, and she helped me along as I ran my errands. Now, despite the tiredness, I wanted to have a Lotus and me day. We went into town, a long hour in and an hour back. I did laundry with her help. I bought a 50-pound bag of dog food and easily loaded it into the back of my Jeep. I got our propane tanks filled and easily loaded them in as well. I took the soon-to-be dethroned baby for a quick treat of hot french fries and frozen coffee. I bought more fruit and vitamin C. I took 2 prenatal vitamins and thought that anything could be knocked out with the right herbs. It may be true, but it was too little too late for me. The cough was there and was dizzyingly painful. I had to stop everything to cough. I would cough deep into my coat and quickly hand sanitize. There was a baby in a cart I had not seen. As I coughed, I looked up to see the tiny thing looking at me. What if I passed it on to this little creature without much immunity? It sent shivers down my spine. I needed to leave. I thought about stopping for a nebulizer treatment, but I was so tired, I told myself I would head straight to the doctor's office as soon as it was open 9 a.m. tomorrow. I was too tired to unload the food, and instead I showered and laid down. Rain and Lotus came in wanting to snuggle and probably poke at the baby. I sent them out. Rain was hurt that I didn't let her hug me. Nothing was working. I was spiraling downhill at an incredibly fast rate. I was burning up, shivering, and the cough hurt beyond words. As I tried to get comfortable, to my horror, I coughed right in Jewel's face. I couldn't lay down by the middle of the night. I got up and tried to sit on the internet and pass time. By the early morning hours, I was doing everything in my power to keep breathing, sitting up in a chair. All my focus was on getting that next breath. Jewel got up. She sat next to me quietly for a moment. She breaks the silence, asking me if she should call 911. I was shocked. Could I be that sick? No. It's 4:30 a.m. I can wait for the 5 hours for 9 a.m. Maybe I would go on at 8:30 and bang on the door. I just need a nebulizer. 4:45 a.m. and I'm breathing in tiny puffs. It's getting harder and harder to complete each breath. I realize I am going to die and worse, kill the baby if I don't do something. I called with Jewel beside me. I have never seen her this worried. I have to call 3 or 4 times as the phone disconnects numerous times. I pass the phone to her and they manage to get a rough sketch of where we live. They keep me on the phone while the ambulance searches me out. They finally say the ambulance is as close as they are going to get. Now it is up to us to find it. They don't want to get stuck. So in my PJs, winter boots, and my winter coat, I grab my purse. I take a long moment to look back at my living room. The kids are quietly sleeping. I resist the urge to walk back upstairs to hug them or watch them sleep. I stop for a second as I fight with my coat. I savor the last moments in my living room. The ratty Christmas tree, wood stove, and little Hot Wheel cars sprinkled all around. I shiver, not from cold. Terror has passed and broken me open. It is no longer hidden deep inside me. Right at the surface, I feel it. I know I very well may not come back. A strange feeling bubbles to the surface, more like a quiet song I know I heard long before my first breath. I almost can't stand the unbearable cold. It is dark and slick outside. I shiver as I creep out the door toward the dark shape that resembles my car. Halfway there, the headlights flick on and Jewel starts it. I feel a cold nose against my hand. My dog Spot, as usual, wants to make sure I am okay. My response is almost automated. I touch his head and his ears. I run my finger over his head, starting between his eyes, where his white patch is. His fur is thick, his nose is cold and wet. He walks with me the rest of the way. It is hard to see the black lab without the spot of white on his head, hence his name. I didn't name him. I wish I did. He is my guardian here on the farm. He must be 5 years old now. I touch him one last time as I reach my destination. A quick thank you. I open the car door and wiggle in the seat. Everything is ice cold to the touch. The car smells like older vehicles that stink as they struggle to warm. As soon as the door is shut, Jewel bolts out of the driveway. It whines and complains and bumps hard against the ground. I stare longingly at the house we built. Spot runs to his favorite hillside area to watch us leave. Our farm is quiet. It looks desolate. Not even the goats stir from their warm barns. The chickens are still roosting. My 9-year-old daughter and her 4-year-old sister sleep soundly in their beds. We turn now hastily to the left and the house is gone from sight. I shiver and pull the ugly green coat far over my belly as I can. I strain in the dark for a few more seconds as the vague outline. Finally, I turn around and I resituate in my seat, pulling the belt over me and laboriously clicking it into place. I begin to look out for the lost ambulance. We slip and bump and turn once more onto another dirt road. This one is older and more used. Jewel takes advantage of this slightly safer road and speeds up even faster. I glance at her and I see fear. She is usually not so quiet. I don't know when I have ever seen her look this scared. 2 miles away, Jewel and I spot the bright lights. They are waiting at a house we told them wasn't the right one. They must feel safer waiting there. As we speed down the road, they realize it is us who is called and they speed toward us. As the sun creeps silently over the mountain to announce the new day, we meet up. Jewel parks and gets out to help me. I kiss her quickly on the cheek. The back door of the ambulance is open. A lady waits for me. I waddle toward the awaiting open door, and I heave myself up inside with her gloved helping hand. I lean over the gurney and cough that painful cough. Up comes a gray boogie. Maybe it was just stuck in my throat, and now I'll be fine. I place it in a tissue and shove it in my pocket. I get up on the gurney. The door shuts before I can look out one last time. Okay. I heave myself up inside with her gloved. Oh, okay, we're there. The door shuts before I can look out one last time. She begins to work on me. The EMT who is not driving is an older woman with a white shirt and black pants. She looks like someone should at noon, fully awake and ready to tackle the day. I wonder how much coffee it takes for such an effect at such an early hour. My coat is stripped off me and placed on my feet with my purse. She again begins to place super sticky patches on me to measure my heart rate and oxygen levels. Then I am covered with blankets. On the bumpy roads, she manages to get in an IV effortlessly. I'm impressed. She runs her stethoscope down my back, stopping in certain areas and going back over certain areas. I still feel silly, and I will be mortified if nothing is wrong with me. I am pregnant, so I can always use that as an excuse. I'd rather be safe than sorry. As soon as my monitor is up, it is obvious that I'm really struggling to breathe. My oxygen stats are ranging in the 80s, the lower 80s. They give me a nebulizer, it does not work. Another gray boogie painfully comes up. I can feel the change in road. We are on the highway now. I can't see much in the dusty back windows. The EMT gives me a list of questions. I bring my focus back to her. She scratches my answers to them on her clipboard. I nod or quickly answer through breathing with the nebulizer. The scenery is blurred as we drive on. I cannot tell where we are at or how fast we are going. I look around with great interest in the tiny ambulance encased in metal. I wonder how many people have died in here. I wonder if they really don't have regular bandages. She listens again to my lungs. I can see she's worried as she looks at my stats marking away at her clipboard. She gives me one more nebulizer treatment to no avail. She worriedly tells me that the bottom lobes of my lungs are collapsed. She calls to get a clearance for another nebulizer. They give an okay over the crackly receiver. She gives me my third one, no changes. Now we are at the hospital, tiny Alamosa. I'm guessing 6 a.m. No one but us is out in this cold. I'm scared the gurney is going to bump hard against the ground. They laugh playfully with me. They slide me down with effortlessness. I joke that they haven't done this much, have they?